Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to Christmas on Crescent live stream. Can everybody hear me? Can everybody see me okay? We're gonna do a lot today. We're gonna have a live interview with the showrunner. The showrunner. There he's coming in. There's the man of the hour. How you doing? The showrunner, Brady Connell today. How you doing today?
I'm fine. Am I on time?
You're good to go. You're good to go. Appreciate you coming on the show today and taking some time out with us.
It's great to be here, and thanks for supporting the Great Christmas Light Fight over the years. We appreciate it.
Yes, indeed. We've had Felicia White on a few times to talk about the show, and we've got a lot to ask you. We're going to do the interview today with you. So you're in California right now, is that correct?
I am. It's very California out right now. It's sunny and 72.
We are windy. We're about 50 degrees outside, and I've been out hanging lights all day. The transformer blew in our backyard yesterday, so we haven't had power on for very long. So luckily it came on in just in time. Would you tell everybody who you are and what you're doing, sir?
Of course, and thank you again for having us and for taking a little departure and talking about Halloween a little bit. So I'm Brady Connell, and I was the first person hired on Great Christmas Light Fight 11 years ago. And for those of you who don't know, it's a show that's been on ABC all this time, every holiday season, and then we did a little spinoff called the Great Halloween Fright Fight. So I'm the executive producer and showrunner of both of those shows. I'm very, very proud of it.
As you should be. So yeah, we're Christmas here. We do a little bit for our Halloween Pride, not as much as we should. I'm just now kind of dabbling into, as are many of my viewers, into a projection mapping. So I'll be asking you about that here later in the interview. Could you tell us about the inspiration behind the Great Halloween Fright Fight and how it differs from other Halloween theme shows?
Yeah, and there are a lot of Halloween shows on. I think there are a lot of like cooking shows and cooking shows, and like all kinds of stuff. And there have been some haunt shows where they would profile haunts, around the country. Most of them have been on cable and sort of maybe slightly lower budget shows. But we had, the Great Christmas Light Fight started in 2014, and we were just surprised that the audience responded so strongly to it. We thought it was just going to be on for maybe 1 or 2 years, and the ratings just kept going up, and then they sort of stabilized. But we have a really strong fan base. A lot of families, I think, view it as appointment viewing. Every year they can't wait for that show to come along. And so, of course, after the first season of Great Christmas Light Fight, we thought, well, let's expand the franchise a little bit and see what else we can do. So we were talking about everything, 4th of July fireworks and the Great Valentine's Day, something or other. But Halloween was a natural, and a lot of the Christmas displays that we were profiling in Christmas Light Fight also did Halloween. And they said, hey, you guys should, if you ever do Halloween, come back and we'd love to do it. And so we were able to get ABC to order one episode way back then in 2014. And then, and it just they don't have a lot of space in the fall season on ABC. October is when they air all of their, their primetime dramas, their really expensive dramas. So it was really kind of filling a hole that year because one of their dramas had gotten canceled. So they haven't really had a need for us until this year, which, there's a strike and everything. So they ordered 2 episodes of the Great Halloween Fright Fight. I've been bugging them for years. And so here we are with it's sort of a comeback for the spinoff.
That's a great kind of backstory. So my next question was going to be what contributed to the fan base. I don't know if you've ever been to Trans World. It's a convention in St. Louis every year that's 80% Halloween, and it takes you 3 days to walk through it. But when we go to that, they're always talking about, hey, when's this show going to come back on? So what contributed? Was it the strike that most contributed to bringing the show back? Because the fan base has been begging for this to come back for years.
I know. And when we travel around the country for Christmas Light Fight, sometimes there are small crowds there, and they'll be like, when are you doing the Halloween show again? I'm like, I'm trying. So I was on a personal mission with both our studio Fremantle and with the network ABC to bring back the Great Halloween Fright Fight. It just felt like a natural extension, of the brand, and people really wanted it. So I was writing emails. I probably to the point where they were really tired of hearing from me, but I was highly suggesting that they reconsider the Great Halloween Fright Fight every year since 2014. And that's with multiple emails and phone calls every year. So that's the kind of tenacity it sort of takes to get things on the air. And we're just glad that they made the decision to bring it back. And it's just 2 episodes this year. So it's October 22nd and October 29th. And those are 1 hour episodes. They're going to air at 10 o'clock on Sunday nights. So we're really hoping that your fans, your Christmas Light Fight and Christmas fans, will kind of migrate over and watch the Halloween version of the show. And it's the exact same format. It's just we have like a Grim Reaper driving the car instead of Santa Claus. So, and we have a lot of different, everything's just adjusted for Halloween, but they'll recognize the format.
Well, I was watching some of the promos that you have out on some of them are on YouTube right now. So I was watching some of the promos for the October 22nd, 29th video. And I kind of wanted to, for this interview, I kind of wanted to gauge what goes on in this and stuff. But they're great sneaker promos where you actually have to watch the full episode to see. I can't just click on there and say, oh, there's the set. So well done you on the promos. It makes me want to watch more. We do have a quick question. Rob says he does not watch any of the show but the Great Light Show on ABC. Most shows on all channels are terrible these days. So you have a lot of fans from this channel that are saying, hey, we talk about you guys all the time. In fact, I don't know if you know this or not. Maybe you do. But AJ, your casting director, has actually reached out to me about some of the people that I put on my show to reach out to them to, hey, maybe we want to get you on the show. So I do feel a little kindred spirit here with you.
We appreciate the help and the support. And hey, if you can get one of your listeners to win $50,000, that's a pretty nice gift that you're passing off to them. So thanks for helping out with the casting. And the displays are popping up all over the country. It's really like a self-sustaining thing now. Like we were worried that we were going to exhaust all the Christmas displays across the country, like within a year or two. But then it turned out when the show aired, people were like, oh, and the kids are like, Dad, come on. And we $50,000 doesn't hurt either, because all the competitors have 1 in 4 chance of winning $50,000 if they have the best display for that episode. So anyway, thank you for forwarding people to us.
Oh, yeah.
You may have done them a big favor.
And I remember, I want to say season 3, maybe season 4 of the Light Fight. You actually had a contestant on. It was a couple guys are like, hey, we started this because of watching your show, and now we're on the show coming full circle. And I remember it was a Pixel Light show. I'm like, that's so cool. So you're actually kind of driving the genre a bit. So for the next Fright Fight episodes, 29th and 22nd, 29th, what can we expect out of those?
Well, to transition with that, there are, as you know, there are thousands of haunts, of home haunts all over the country. So I don't think it's going to be as dubious, to cast the Halloween Fright Fight if we end up getting 6 episodes a year and all that. I think we're going to be fine for years because there are so many of them. Christmas, I think, has grown because of the show, but Halloween is set. We're just going to be plugging into all the haunts that are already out there. But in terms of what to expect, your friend, your viewer there wrote in. They said that they don't watch a lot of other shows, and one of the attributes of Christmas Light Fight is that it's a family-friendly show. Of course, especially that show, and it airs from like prime time from 8, somewhere between 8 and 11 on the respective night. And Halloween, we were trying to think about like, well, how much do we want to push it to not be family friendly? Because there's plenty of stuff out there to film that is not family friendly. You can imagine these haunts. So we have pushed it just a little bit.
How do you gauge that? How do you gauge the scare the bejesus out of you versus the family friendly? Did that go into picking the shows? I know I'm kind of jumping forward here a little bit, but since you segued into that, how do you find the contestants and balance that family friendly need?
Well, we decided, we always like a variety of displays, and in the Halloween sense, it's haunts, home haunts within the 1 hour, right? We want to have 4 different parts of the country. We want to have different types of families and different types of displays. So sometimes they are walkthroughs, right? Where like the haunts, they literally have haunted walkthroughs through their house or out in their backyard. And those tend to be a little bit more scary because they use characters, actual live characters to jump out and scare you and all that. But then there are some that are just displays, like traditional Christmas light displays, where it's just the front of the house, has an amazing haunted house display, and they use lights and maybe some animatronics or something. But we just tried to have a variety in an episode, and we didn't really make the decision based on being scared or not. It just turned out that we have a good variety. We have like in one episode I'm thinking of, we have 2 really super family friendly segments, where one is like based on storytelling over the years from like old Disney fairy tales and Aesop's fables and Grimm's fairy tales, which is really neat. And then there's another one that's like a big pirate pirate ship battle on the front lawn. And then there's 2 other ones that are like a ride. You actually take a ride through almost like a haunted mansion kind of thing. They call it the Doom Buggy, and they cruise through, and that's obviously more scary. And then there's another one that's just a lot of animatronics. They're jumping out at you. So, but we didn't, in the edit, we had to be a little bit careful about how far to take it.
Okay.
It is airing at 10 o'clock. So we have a little bit more leeway there to be a little more scary. So you'll get, no matter what you're looking for, you'll probably see it in this show.
Fair. I got a question here from Kiwi Christmas. He hails out of New Zealand. Says, Brady, do you find Halloween displays more interactive than Christmas?
I love the logo, my Kiwi Christmas logo. I know New Zealand very well and love New Zealand. Hello down there. Absolutely. It's fascinating, actually. It's more experiential for the judges. And by the way, it doesn't have to be that way in order to win. It's just the ones that are more haunted walkthroughs tend to be more experiential and interactive. Yeah, but we've had the word interactive is very bold, very broad, because on Christmas we've had Christmas displays where you could go up and push a button and you'd see something happen. Santa would dance or whatever, or the reindeer would start running or whatever, and that's interactive for kids to actually have some feedback when they're at the display. Whereas interactive in the Halloween sense, it's more literally interaction with people and characters and scary moments.
So we're on 2014. You haven't been on since. So it's a reboot of since. I guess I don't know if I'm using that word correctly or not. But the question though, since this is the first season, the first recent season, how did you go about finding contestants for this year's show?
Yeah, it's a good question. And on Christmas, you may know that we actually cast a year in advance on the Christmas show.
I do, yeah.
So we this coming December, we will be casting to shoot in December of 2024, and that won't air until December of 2025. So we're casting 2 years out from the show that's actually going to air. Halloween, and we managed to make that happen after the first few years. We were actually casting and shooting the same year that it was airing, and we're like, this is crazy. We're shooting in August for Christmas, so we really wanted to shoot in November and December for Christmas. So we were able to shoot 2 seasons 1 year, and we jumped ahead. So now we're ahead of the game. But at Halloween, because they ordered it for this year, we had to cast in July based on pre-existing video for any haunts that they just happened to have video from the previous year. So they would send us the video. We only cast based on video and an interview, of course, but we can't even start to consider your haunt or your display until you send in video that's decent, so that we can at least see if you have a cool display. So anyway, fortunately we were able to find enough to do 2 full episodes, and that was there's 4 per episode, a total of 8 haunts around the country. And so that's how we were able to do this year. We were casting, May, June, July, telling them, and then they had to be ready at the end of August. We were actually, I think our first day of shooting was August 21st for a Halloween show. So then we went out and shot all those 8 haunts all over the country, and we finished up not too long ago, and we're editing right now to air on October 22nd. So that's all that to say that we are also now casting, because we got ABC to agree to cast now for next year, because we wanted to be able to tell all the families to get good video this year. And then in June, we'll contact you and we'll ask you and we'll have video sent in, and we'll have editors cut those reels together and present it to ABC to cast for what would officially be our season 3, which will be shot next year, to air next year. I hope that answers all your questions.
It does. So for the viewers that are watching this now and will watch the playback later, they need good video, and to send you a good video into where?
Oh, it's Light Fight. Well, it's either Christmas, it's lightfightcasting.com, and for Halloween, it's frightfightcasting.com. Frightfightcasting.com.
So
you can also go to ABC. On the air, you'll see abc.com/casting. That goes to the same place. But if you're thinking about Halloween, frightfightcasting.com is casting right now to be shot next Halloween.
So for me, I do an annual contest myself, and this year I made the change where I want landscape views only. A lot of people are sending me vertical, and I had to do a ton of editing to get that to work for me. So landscape 16:9, is that what the kind of video you want sent in?
Yeah, thanks for mentioning that. Everyone's shooting vertical these days for social media, but television is still on the TV. So we need to be able to present you to ABC as the home audience would see you on television. So please, shoot everything horizontally, landscape. That'd be great. Don't worry so much about the sound.
And are you wanting it?
Sorry.
Are you wanting it unedited? Just here you go. Or you want any editing done to that so that for those that have the ability to do that, or you just want the raw footage?
Raw footage is fine, but if you want to do some editing, it never hurts. It never hurts because we have casting producers, who look at the video and determine whether or not we want to put more effort into editing it ourselves to pass it on to ABC. And so the better it looks, the better. But we've had plenty of raw footage, so don't stress yourself out about it.
Very cool. Very cool. The question on everybody, I've gotten this asked a ton of emails to me. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. We're going to find out together. Wonderland Steven is his name. He has a YouTube channel as well. And it displays says, what are you using for the trophy for this show?
So if you've seen Great Christmas Light Fight, one of the things that we did in the very first season, we just decided this has got to be, it's a Christmas light show, right? It's got to be the coolest trophy ever. So we went all out on this trophy. It's like a bulb, a giant bulb with lights that go on inside the bulb. And then we were thinking about Halloween. We can't shortchange Halloween. So we went all out with the Halloween trophy too. It's pretty big. It's like this big, and it's got a big jack-o'-lantern on the top, and then it's got like this vine base, and then or center, and then the base is a traditional big trophy base. And it says, champion of the Great Halloween Fright Fight. So it's a lot of people talk about the $50,000, but I would say more people talk about getting that trophy, and it's definitely a prize. Yeah.
100%. I've had this conversation with many people over the years I've been doing my show, and certificates are fun. The monetary prizes are nice, but we all just want the trophies. That's a memento your kids, your grandkids can always have. The cash is spent and the certificates get lost, but the trophy always remains. Right. And I love that you put champions on there rather than first place or whatever. So that champion, that's got to invoke some pride in some folks.
That's right. And they can put it in their window of their display forever, or what, and they can publicize that they were a champion of the Great Halloween Fright Fight or the Christmas Light Fight. We have no problem with that. But they just have to wait till the show airs.
I remember. Yes. So yeah, they can't talk about the results for a year, correct?
Right. We need to keep a few secrets until the show airs.
Right. Yeah, I remember when Felicia was talking about the trophy and her original design for the light fight trophy. She wanted this different than what it ended up being. She wanted to. I think the first prototype, the bulbs didn't work on it or something. She was saying. So the fact that you have this cool, maybe a little bit taller trophy is even pretty neat. So that's kind of neat.
Yeah.
Rob's asking, what kind of displays for Halloween are you looking more homemade, or the style that you buy in the store you just put up? The contestants that are on this year's episodes, do you find they're more store-bought or more handmade?
It's a really good question, and there is no answer from our point of view. There is no answer. We want to take the handcuffs off. There's practically no rules on this show. We the early days of Christmas Light Fight, we used to have rules. You had to do it in 21 days, and we just got rid of everything. And same with the types of displays. We just want to entertain the audience, right? So if we're entertained when we see your tape, whether it's all store-bought animatronic characters, and you didn't do one thing yourself, as long as it's cool and it's well done and it's well lit, let's say, or it has a good story behind it and it's presented in a creative fashion, then that's all fine. And we have a few of those on this season of Great Halloween Fright Fight. And they did well. And then we have a couple that are completely 100% handmade DIY, and they also did well. So it really doesn't matter is the answer.
Fair enough. It's about how you put it together and what story you're trying to tell, I guess, from the display. Yep. Chad's asking, judges, what can we expect from the judges? Will the Halloween show have the same judges as the Christmas Light show?
Yeah, another good question. Thanks for watching Christmas Light Fight. Yes, Carter Osterhaus and Tanya Nyack are the best. They're so great. And if any of your listeners have been on the show and met Carter or Tanya, I would think that they have good reports. They're terrific people and really nice and really attentive. And they're also very capable now. I mean, they've been on the show for a decade, and they have seen a lot of lights and a lot of displays and a lot of families. And they really are very careful about how they judge. But yeah, they are the exact same judges on Great Halloween Fright Fight, and we alternate episodes just like we do on Christmas Light Fight. So they're going through it by themselves.
Okay, so Cardinal being one and one of each. Okay, are they alternating episodes or alternating haunts the same episode?
Episode. So the one judges one whole episode, and they, some of your listeners may not even know this, but if you've seen our show, it's actually a lot of travel. So the judge actually goes to 4 different places around the country, to wherever they are. It doesn't matter where they are, and it's just that if they're in the same episode, they will go to those four families, and then they decide which of those 4 they like the best, and then they return to that family to tell them that they won. So it's 5 trips around the country that each judge is making for their respective episode. And on Christmas Light Fight, we're doing 6 episodes. So they're doing 3 of those. Each judge is doing 3 of those runs. So anyway, just wanted you to know that the judges put a lot of effort into getting there.
Yes, yeah. So you don't pair them towards geographical location. You just pair like, hey, we want these 4 in this episode. Here's your airfare, or here's your plane tickets, or whatever.
Yep. After during COVID, we clumped them together a little bit. We actually had sort of regional competitions in one episode because of COVID travel.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But now we're back to, hey, we want to have the best episode we can have, so we put these 4 together. And a lot of it does have to do with logistics and ease of travel and stuff in terms of what ends up in one episode. There are a lot of factors that go into what how we group those 4 together. But in terms of just variety and places around the country. But the judges do whatever it takes to get the job done.
Fair enough. Olivia says, will there be home haunts, or is this only haunted attractions, or what can we expect from these episodes? Are they individual homes, or are they in fact attractions?
Yeah, thanks, Olivia. These on Great Halloween Fright Fight, they are all home haunts. I love it. She called it home haunts. That's like the term I'm still learning, is they don't call them displays. They are home haunts. They are all home. They are all residential homes. So we just decided there are so many commercial haunts out there that take place at local YMCA's or whatever, and they charge. And so we decided to just hold off on that for now and just focus on residentials right now. And on Christmas Light Fight, we do generally, like this season on Christmas Light Fight, which airs this coming December, we have 5 episodes of the 6 are residences, and then the 6th episode is our heavyweights episode. The fighting theme continues. And we allow pretty much anybody to be on those episodes. And I'd like to do the same thing for Halloween, right? We'd have multiple home haunt episodes. So homes are only competing against homes. And then a separate episode that is dedicated just to the larger, let's say more expensive haunts, where they actually maybe charge, but they don't have to, but they could charge for guests. So that's the goal down the road, is to have some of the bigger ones on a separate show.
Makes sense.
Separate episode.
So Alan's saying that he agrees that the trophy is worth more. Chad's saying that talking about the hosts, that they are great on the show and they make the show fun to watch.
Good,
so yeah, pretty cool. Both of the judges are also very good people. Very nice. And who drops the judges off? Is it the Great Pumpkin? You said earlier is the Grim Reaper. Is that right?
The Great Pumpkin would have been good too. We went through the list of all the possibilities, like a witch, or something. But you'll see when you see the episode, it's the Grim Reaper basically, and he's got his bony hands on the wheel and his bony foot on the gas pedal, and he just kind of grunts, and he honks the horn, and it's a Halloween theme song. So,
okay.
He's the one who delivers the judge to the house in a really cool old like black 1940s car. So
nice. Black instead. Okay, makes sense. So for both you, the film crew, and the contestants, what kind of preparation goes into putting the show on the back scenes? What is it we're not going to see that is worth mentioning? Like, this is such hard work because of this, or what goes into making these shows?
Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, most people don't care, so thank you for asking. But it is, in the television world, you watch the show and it looks so cute. There's like these displays and the judge shows up and judges, and then they give an award. But you can imagine the conversations that happen to get us to that point. Just permits, in a neighborhood, especially if there's a homeowners association, or there's a couple complaining neighbors or whatever. Our production team has to just lay the groundwork for everything that's required. We have a big jib that shoots the big wide shots, and a lot of times that has to be in the street. So we have to get permits with the city. We have to have police officers on either end of the street to block off the street. A lot of times you'll see like a crowd, or even if it's just the judge and the family standing in the middle of the street. That doesn't happen by accident. It's like a full-on city blockade, so that we can be safe and we can really focus on this family and this display. So those are the kinds of conversations that happen on the production side to get ready. We have a fantastic field production team who actually goes out, to shoot these these segments with the families. So we have a head producer who is, that's where I came from. I was one of those types of producers, you know, who would go out and, you know, work with the family and talk to them on the phone in advance and, you know, talk them off the ledge if they're getting all nervous or whatever, they think they're not going to be ready, and get them to the point where, well, when we show up, they're not, you know, they're not overwhelmed by, you know, whatever Hollywood coming to town. We're just friends who are here to document your amazing work. So they, you know, they navigate that discomfort along the way. And then on the day, you know, we have the whole team. We have, you know, camera, sound, you know, producers and multiple people, a lot of local production assistants who show up to help out with paperwork or whatever, and food and all that stuff. So it's a big production, and it takes place all night long. Like we can't shoot until nighttime, right? So we arrive in the afternoon and we shoot some daytime stuff, you know, some interviews and things. But then sometimes, especially on Halloween, we weren't starting until 8 o'clock at night because the sun wasn't down yet. So we would shoot from 8 to 2 in the morning to get the thing done. And this is, you know, it's not easy to do that for the family, especially who might be tired. Maybe they were all up all night the night before getting their display ready. So there's a lot of behind the scenes things that people don't really know about. It doesn't matter. We don't feel the need to tell anybody, but we appreciate you asking. And certainly it helps when the family knows what all goes into it, so that they understand that we have problems too. We have cameras that go down and weather problems, and you know, people get sick. And so there's all kinds of things like that occur as well. That's okay.
Yeah. Is each episode filmed start to finish in one night?
The majority of it, most of the stuff that you see in terms of the judge and the display and all that, and the judge, everything that has to do with the judge, yes, happens in one night, which is a lot, which is like 90% of the segment. As you remember, there's also like a home package, like a story about the family in advance. It only runs about a minute to a minute and a half. And we can shoot some of that during the day before, or even the day of the big reveal. And then the family shoots footage of themselves before we get there. They shoot footage of themselves, like setting it up with time lapses and things. So if you see some of that, that's actually shot by the family, which is really cool. And then we stay a day after the reveal and do follow-up interviews with the family and any other little moments that we forgot, any pickups that we need. So
yeah, that was one of the promos I saw was one of the time lapse videos. So I was wondering if they filmed that themselves. I'm like, that's pretty good camera work if they filmed it themselves. So good job.
Yeah, they're great. I mean, these days everybody's good, you know, pretty good at and we just give them instructions. So even if there's a family out there that doesn't know what they're doing, we'll walk them through it.
Fair enough. In the conventions I go to, I see just technology just expanding so quickly, and things that were once only safe for like rock concerts. You know, if you're not Metallica, you don't know how to use it, are now in everyday shows. So from the original 2014 airing to today, or till the first episode on October 22nd, what technology how has that changed over the evolution of the show from 2014 to now that you noticed, took note of?
Yeah, that's an interesting question too. I'm no expert, you know. I mean, I see what I see, of course, but I'm not an expert, like technical guy, or, you know, I don't know how animatronics work. But I would have to say that the animatronics this year are very impressive, very sophisticated in terms of just like movement and eyeballs and, you know, the ability for the jaw to go up and down. I was like, wow, that's pretty cool. I'm not sure if that existed back then. I'm sure it did, because Disney, of course, pioneered it back in the day. But for someone at home to be able to create their own, you know, skeleton and their own programming and their own whatever they call it, the manipulator, you know, for them to be able to record the manipulation of the skeleton or whatever the character is, and then be able to play that back. I think that is relatively new, at least in the home haunt world. It's accessible now to families, and that's pretty cool. Projection mapping has been around, and that's been used a couple times on Christmas Light Fight, and it is used by one family very well on the Great Halloween Fright Fight this year. And that is literally a projection on their house, but the projection itself is designed to specifically fit on their house. So they go through an app and they do all that, which is pretty neat. So if they want to do a show, you know, any kind of show on their house, they can do that. And then if you have animatronics over here, and then you've got whatever dancers or something in the foreground, it's quite the show at someone's home, thanks to technology. So those are the main things.
Yeah, I do a little bit of projection mapping, and I kind of describe it as it makes your house into a living being. I only do a couple of things on it. My goal is to eventually move over 100% to projection mapping, because I'm going to get to the point where I can't climb trees or roofs anymore. And if I can just do my whole show and I'm 80 years old, I can still do projection mapping. I can't hang lights in a tree when I'm 80 years old. So my goal is to eventually move 100% to that. So
it's a good pitch for
save the copays at the ER.
Yeah, yeah, that's a good pitch for the projection mapping companies out there. You can do it till you're 100.
Yeah. So Chad says it'd been cool if Rob Zombie would have been the driver to drop him off.
Believe it or not,
Kiwi Christmas says,
it was discussed. It was
was
discussed.
it? And how did that discussion go?
It was just like, it's probably easier because we have to travel him, and he's got to be out there, for a full, probably almost 2 days for each episode to get there and be ready for the night and then come back. It was just too much to ask of him, I think. So the Grim Reaper
Some
was
of the say it again.
The Grim Reaper was available, so
there you go. Yeah, we were discussing in our Discord chat about are they going to have Rob Zombie? Are they going to have I'm forgetting his name, the Freddy Krueger actor?
Right.
His name escaped me. Robert Englund.
Yeah.
So we were kind of debating who's going to be driving.
That's funny. Maybe in future seasons, you never know. Special guest driver.
Yeah. Are there any plans to expand this to other countries?
So really, I hope so. There was a time when Fremantle, which is the studio behind the show, they had considered taking the format to other countries, and I think they did actually. I feel like I feel like Sweden or one of the European countries was interested in doing their own version of it. It's not real easy, okay. And I think a lot of countries don't believe that there are going to be enough displays to sustain an ongoing series. So I think they've been a little reluctant, but they did air the show in many countries. I mean, those first 5 years, I think we were airing in well over 25 countries around the world, and on airplanes. It did really well on airplanes during the Christmas time.
Oh yeah.
So, but they sort of slowed down on that, on the international viewing. They sort of slowed down on it a little bit. They're not selling it as much around the country. It's not the country's fault. It's Fremantle's designed to sort of slow down on it. And I'm trying to encourage them to get back out there. But I hope that other countries will do the format of the show. I think it would do well.
Yeah, 100% agree. The extreme decoration industry, I'm gonna call it, has just grown so immensely over the years. I mean, if I had it to do over again, I probably would have started with Pixels. To me, Pixels is more of a legitimate light show. I'm an AC light show, but there's not a whole lot of us Christmas tubers, as we're called, or extreme holiday decorators. There's about a handful of us, but even that's growing, which I'm excited to see. So I think this is growing to other countries. We'll normally have, like we have New Zealand in today. We will normally have folks in here from South Africa and India and other countries in here. So it's going to be a worldwide activity. Maybe is a word to say.
I'm still pushing for, and Felicia will tell you this. I'm still pushing for an international episode. Where 4 countries compete against each other, and New Zealand would definitely be in there because New Zealand has some excellent Christmas displays, and Philippines, and certainly throughout Europe. A lot in Germany, Norway. So there's a lot of Christmas displays around the world. I'd love to start that. We've only had one so far. It was in Canada, and they did great, but it's expensive to travel. Of course, we're still a low budget reality show, but we're going to try to get out there.
Fair enough. Yeah, I know pixel lights are huge in New Zealand and in Australia as well. There's a lot goes on over there with X lights.
Yeah.
So just side question. So when you do film in other countries in that Canadian episode, do you take your own equipment through customs, or do you rent? Is there an ABC affiliate there? Do you guys use their equipment?
We took all our own, and maybe that was part of the problem. It just ended up being a little bit expensive for us, and so we've had a hard time convincing the bean counters to spend the money to go internationally. So anyway, I'm still working on that because there's so many there's out there, and I think it'd be fun to see how people celebrate Christmas with lights in other countries, and same with Halloween. Halloween's huge, and like Scotland, and oh my gosh, Halloween is that's where I think it's where it originated from. So we got to get out there with Halloween too.
Yeah, my viewers actually don't know this, so I'll make the announcement right now. We're actually getting flown out to Finland. There's a Christmas village there that extended an invitation to us, so we'll be going out there here at an undisclosed date within the next few months, and doing some stuff there. So yeah, other countries are huge into it.
Yeah. Well, if you see anything spectacular, send it to us.
I'll do it. Yeah. And not every, like for us, it's winter this time of year. Like in New Zealand, it's going to be summer. It's different. We have white Christmases here. Some people can't have that because they're in the different hemisphere. So
right. Yeah. Fair enough. Good reminder.
I'll see here. Building extravagant Halloween displays is a unique challenge. What criteria do the judges are they going to use this year? Is it the same criteria that they've used on the Great Christmas Light Fight, or how will the winners be chosen?
Yeah, in terms of process, it'll be the same. But we went through a bit of a transformation over the first, after the first couple of years. Again, like we had lots of rules in the beginning, and we even had categories for the judges to really think through. And we had a score sheet. It was like use of lights and creativity and blah blah blah, and then we added it up. And we dispensed with that. There is still a point system, like 1 to 100.
Okay.
But it is basically an overall impression. It's like one category. It's overall impression. It's not broken up into specific things. But if there's a tie, then there might be other elements that would come into play, like creativity or whatever. But it's basically, at the end of the day, which one did you like the most? And it could be for any reason, really. It could be in Halloween. It could be because it scared them, or it was beautiful, or it was really fun, or it was an amazing amount of work they put into it. It could be any reason. So we've just taken off all those rules for both shows.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
You mentioned this earlier, but Rob's wanting to know: are you bringing crowds back to this episode? Correct.
There are some. I think they have people. I think it's much better when you had a crowd outside the house. Well, that's very nice. Of course, we all feel the same way too. COVID did not help, with that. So. Yeah. It's interesting is the season of Christmas Light Fight that actually aired during COVID had been shot before COVID. So during COVID, they were watching a show with huge crowds, and people were complaining, that we were all out there without masks on and stuff. But it was because the show was old. But then we film a year in advance. Yeah. So we cut back on crowds, and really for several years it had to be just the families themselves. And now we are slowly creeping back up, and on this season of Christmas Light Fight and Halloween Fright Fight, you'll see some families that are completely by themselves. That was their choice, but we did give them the opportunity to bring up to like 20, 25 people. But if the family doesn't want the crowd there, that's their decision. And then this year with Christmas, when we shoot Christmas this year, we are also allowing up to 30 people to be in the crowd. It's really family and friends. It's not like anybody can show up like it used to be. We had 1,000 people show up once in one of the episodes. It's just too much to handle. We only have 2 production assistants, out there. So it's almost dangerous to have that many people without the manpower and security to be able to handle it. So right now we're keeping it under 30, but we'll see.
So yeah, that kind of. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
That kind of, you have you're limiting it to 30. You've had as many as 1,000, which kind of begs the question: what do you think that you got the Halloween shows, you got the Christmas shows? What does that say to when you have 1,000 people that want to come out? How does that speak to the family and community? It just seems like it kind of touches people in a way that it probably should, because you have all these Christmas shows that speak about love and peace and understanding, and then you have 1,000 people show up for one show. What does that speak to you as far as community oriented? Not wording this question correctly. You're touching a lot of people's lives for the better. So I'm trying to word this in a compliment. I'm just doing a horrible job at it.
No, I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
I think I do think viewers, especially families, are craving, anything that brings back the feeling of community and of neighborhood, right? I mean, I do. I live in LA, and I'm like part of my Rotary Club because I want to feel part of my community, and I think there are certain shows that do that. There are some even sitcoms or some dramas that really focus on family and neighbors and community. I used to work on Extreme Makeover Home Edition. Remember that show with Ty Pennington a long time ago? That show was all about community. It's like we decided that was why that show succeeded, was because it's all about the community, right? Ultimately, and not only the show, but like life should be about the community and giving back to your community. And that's what ultimately, again, Christmas Light Fight and Halloween Fright Fight are both about. Sure, people want to, on our show, they want to win $50,000, but some of them have been doing it for 20, 30 years. And they're not doing it for the money. And they're not doing it because it's easy. It's usually really hard. Partially, they're doing it because of the art. They just feel the passion to be artistic and do something interesting and colorful and fun. But at the end of the day, everybody says they're doing it for the kids, or they're doing it for the families down the street, who have kids, or the grandkids of the kids who used to come to their display, 30 years ago, are coming by, and they just can't let those kids down each year. And when you think about the inspiration that actually can come from that, like a show like Extreme Makeover Home Edition, I feel like we left thousands of children all over the country and the viewers at home, kids especially, learning about volunteerism and learning how to give back to your community. And here it's just kind of like, hey, if you live in a community and you can do something fun for your neighbors and then do it, because it makes people happy and it gives people good memories. So it's a long answer to it, but I truly believe in it. And I think it's core to the success of the show.
Great point. So we have the biggest prop that I have in my display is a red maple that died because we had a drought. And I thought I could hang lights on it. The city says I can't. So we're trying to scramble. We had a thought process. My wife and I had a conversation. Do we not hang lights this year? Or do we try to pivot to something very quickly? Like we got to do the show as best we can this year because it's part of people's family traditions. People come to our home and they'll say, hey, we have a photo cut out. People will stick their heads in and makes them look like they're Santa Claus. And they do this every year. That's their family Christmas card. So I'm like, we got to do it this year. Even if it's not as wowing as it normally is because of something beyond our control, we still have to do it simply because it's family traditions and it's part of the community. And that's what I get out of it. So
I love it. I love it. So we're all motivated by the right thing,
Yes. Yeah. See, Rob's asking, where'd the other question go? I think it was Chad asking it. If I can go back up to it and find it, says that there is a similar show on A&E, or used to be, where 1 or 2 seasons where they did Christmas light shows from other countries in Germany and England. Are you familiar with that show? Because I'm not.
I feel like somebody had suggested that I watched it years ago, and I had watched it, and it just felt so different from our show that I didn't watch the rest of it. But thank you. Yeah, thanks for the heads up. Maybe I'll poke around and see what they're doing with that series these days.
Chad also says I was just going to mention the Extreme Makeover show, and then you brought it up. So yeah.
That's
funny. It was a great show.
It has a lot of similarities, especially in the early days of Christmas Light Fight, where we have a crowd out in front and the car pulls up and then there's a reveal, like there was a lot of similarities, but it's just because the concepts are similar.
Yeah, the comments are kind of pouring in that, hey, we do it for the community aspect. So that I think we all kind of do that. So it's just fun. So what kind of behind the scenes is there going to be? And I asked this to Felicia too. Is there ever going to be or maybe there is, and I just don't know yet, a behind the scenes, like a blooper edition of the Light Fight or of the Fright Fight?
Probably not a bloopers. I mean, it's just hard to get ABC to completely get on board with a whole hour of bloopers or something like that. But maybe we could, sneak some into the regular episode, like in the credit bed or something. We're always so busy promoting the next episode, but maybe we can throw some fun stuff in there with Carter. If anything really fun happens on set that's silly, we might put it on social media, especially if it involves Carter and Tanya.
There you go. So yeah, with all the extra platforms, Disney Plus and Peacock and everything, and all the other apps out there, Netflix, Hulu, is there any chance to get additional episodes on maybe a streaming service owned by the ABC?
Thank you. That would be the hope for sure. Because I'm pretty sure that ABC would never order 6 Halloween episodes just because it's October. They have so many shows that happen in the fall. September and October are the big months for all those primetime new series. So I don't think they would ever really expand beyond 2 episodes. But Hulu would be awesome. So, and there's Huluween. I don't know if anybody's watched Huluween, but that would be our fantasy. Would be able to do, because there are so many haunts out there, to be able to do 6 Halloween Fright Fight episodes along with 6 Great Christmas Light Fight episodes. That would be the ultimate. And by the way, and just a little bit of an answer to your last question too, in terms of what else might there be, we have an All-Stars Christmas Light Fight episode happening this year. It's airing on November 29th. So we did, at the end of season 5 to air season 6, we did an All-Stars episode for seasons 1 through 5 of the Great Christmas Light Fight. It was awesome. It was a great episode. It's like the best of the best of 5 years in 1 hour. So we waited 5 years, and now at the end of season 10, which aired last year, we now put together the best of the best from seasons 6 through 10, and that's going to air on November 29th at 10 o'clock, and that's called the Great Christmas Light Fight All-Stars. So that's just a little bit of a side episode from the show, but it's not bloopers though.
Well played.
Yeah, but we hope that we can get more.
Kind of like, this is aired on Hulu as well, correct?
It does, yeah. All the Christmas and Halloween Fright Fight all airs on Hulu. I think the day after it airs on ABC. So if you have Hulu, you can totally stream and watch all of our episodes and get all caught up and see the best. Oh, thanks. November 29th on the calendar for All Stars. Thank you.
Yeah, so I'm a Chiefs fan, and she's a Taylor Swift fan. Her name's Laura, goes by old 1979 Swifty. So we're a friendship made in heaven here. Kansas City Chiefs fan and a Swifty fan.
I love that. Love that. And let me make sure I'm right on that. Sorry. Do I have that right? I'm so sorry. It's November 26th. November 26th. I don't know why I had 29th in my head. It's the 26th.
Okay.
If Felicia's watching this, she's probably like, Brady, it's the 26th. I just happened to look at my calendar. It's the 26th, right? The Sunday after Thanksgiving. And then the next Sunday, December 3rd, is when Christmas Light Fight begins airing on December 3rd at 10 o'clock.
Nice. Now, are there any, is there anybody that's been on Light Fight that's going to be in a Fright Fight? Are there any crossovers?
Not yet, but we are totally open to that. We have if somebody wants to win $100,000 from our show, then they are welcome to it. By the way, speaking of money, on Christmas Light Fight, we have given out $3 million since the show started.
Have you really?
Isn't that amazing?
Wow.
$3 million since the show started. So, and prize money. And that's we are a low budget show, but we decided to put out $50,000 per episode. I think that's one of the reasons that people like the show, because the stakes are high and people want to be on the show.
Well, they're high, but it's not like Big Brother or Survivor where there's hundreds of thousands for the one winner. I personally like it's a low enough number that it can pay your kid to college, you can buy a car, whatever, pay your house off. It's large enough to do that, but it's not sole motivation to do the show. So you're not giving out $5 million to the winner, so everybody's joining in, throwing something for the money rather than the community aspect. So I like the price point on the prize myself.
I love that observation. Thank you for making that. That's true.
Steve's asking, are there any podcasts planned for the future for this or the Christmas show?
That's a no. But we could. I don't know that we would have the following. There's so many folks out there like you. They're just huge Christmas lovers, and we're okay. Just kind of, as long as we are invited to sort of share our message. I don't know that we would do our own, but maybe
that would be cool. A cool podcast where you would go back and re-interview people later on or something. I don't know. There's probably something to that actually. Good job, Steve.
There is, because we do have the best of the best, across the country, all in one series, and it would be really interesting for people who are aspiring to do their own displays to be able to hear the specifics of all of those families and those displays. So yeah, something to think about it. We just have to put the energy into it and make it happen.
Yeah, I've met a few of the contestants at some of the conventions I go to, the Peace Family and some others. Is there ever any kind of reunion for this fraternity and sorority of castmates?
No, but it'd be fun. There is quite the community. I mean, we're outsiders, this community existed before we came along, and they welcomed us, and we were really grateful for that. It's like, they want to make a TV show about us. But then it turned out we're all working together now, for the betterment of the love of Christmas lights and Halloween displays. But yeah, I think it'd be fun to get everybody together, wouldn't it? I mean, there are a couple of, like you said, the Trans World Convention, and there's the Christmas Expo every year. We're there. So that kind of turns into a little bit of a reunion, because we do see a lot of past participants that were on our show. It's nice to reconnect with them.
Yeah, that's the first time that I talked to you then, like old Swifty's talking to you now, when you were on the live with Christmas Expo, and you were talking about how Laura, and I forget Laura's sister's name, that own the expo, they're kind of an inspiration for you guys to do this show.
Yes, yeah, Christmas Expo embraced us right away, and we really, really appreciated that. I don't think we knew exactly what we were getting into. but it turns out that of course, just like any passionate artistic people, they take it to the end. They want to know the latest technology. They'll spend money on it. It's really fun to watch. Fun to watch people's passion come to light.
Agreed. Is there anything that didn't happen in the show, or any prop maybe you were expecting to see that you didn't see, or anything that took you by surprise in the ones that made the show this year?
For Halloween,
yeah,
I guess not. No, I hate to say that, but nothing really shocked me. The variety was really exciting, and we are often surprised, especially when it's the first. This isn't the first season, but since we hadn't seen really good video of previous years, a couple of the families, we were like, okay, it looks good, kind of good enough, but we're not 100% sure. And then when we got there, I was like, oh my gosh, they went all out once they got on the show. So we were pleasantly surprised in terms of how it turned out, because we hadn't actually seen anything that indicated exactly how it was going to be, which is a little bit of a risk for us, but also kind of a fun surprise. But no, nothing went terribly wrong. We've had in the past, some displays that maybe didn't go on when they should have.
Yeah, I remember one episode of that.
Yeah, and we work with them on that, and it's the judge has their own experience, right, of that happening. So we really encourage families to be ready for when that judge shows up, because it's like a sporting event. You have to be ready. But if they're not, and we can still work around it a little bit, we do everything we can to make it still look good.
Rob here has a great question I should have asked and didn't even think about. How many years does ABC order the Halloween Fright Fight for?
It's very unusual for any network to order more than 1 year at a time. So they ordered for this year, for 2023. Obviously, it's on the air. And then, again, the 22nd and the 29th of October. Then they have ordered casting for season 3, which would be shot next Halloween. They have not greenlit that show. So it's important to know that it's not officially greenlit, but we have to get ready for it. And they wouldn't greenlight casting, because it costs money, unless they had a pretty good idea that they were going to do it again, based on what they've seen so far of this year. This year's episodes are really good. So I think they thought, oh, okay, let's get some more of those.
Nice.
So keep our fingers crossed for many more to come.
Pepsi, My Kiwi Christmas has a good question here. Is there any AI that's involved in any of the displays or haunts? It's kind of getting predominant nowadays.
Yeah, there could be AI that I was unfamiliar with. But there's the programming going on that is so impressive, with Lightorama and the other companies out there that have their boxes, and if someone's doing a light show, that takes just an immense amount of programming and time and persistence to get that to really be something different that we haven't seen before. Drones are pretty interesting these days. You've probably seen some of the drone work that's being done in the air, where 500 drones will go up in the air and be in unison and turn into different things. So on Christmas Light Fight this year, we actually have a drone display, and it's spectacular. So I don't think AI is officially involved in that, but it's just a regular programming kind of thing. But it could be, and I would think that it will only enhance things as the years go on. So there's some good stuff coming out of the whole AI.
Yeah, we had Audrey Call, the vice president of Lightorama, on for an interview a while back, and that's one of the questions we asked her. Is there, kind of the two things? Is there going to be any apps coming out that you can control it? And I know is it X-Lights or Lightorama just came out with one. I think it's X-Lights. The Lightorama's planning to come out with one, but I always thought that'd be neat to have an app that you can control the drones with. I know Tom Bett George does a ton of work with the drones, and there's just so much neat tech out there.
The drones really, and of course we shot this is Christmas Light Fight that has the drone show. Sorry. And we shot it last year, and it had already been around for a little while. But when I first saw the drone on video, I was like, oh my God, that's got to be on the show, so we went after it, and they were terrific. And now there are many more of those, but it is a pretty sizable financial, investment to get a whole drone light show together. But it can't just be the drones; it's got to be the house too. So it's got to be just drones in the air. I don't think is enough for our show. It's got to be it's got to coincide and interact with the house, because it's still a Christmas lights show.
Right. The best drone Halloween show I saw was, name drop again, Tom Bett George. He did the Stranger Thing monster. He did that with drones over his house. Oh, that was awesome. Yeah,
I've seen that. And Tom's great. By the way, I met Tom. Just happened. The casting director Kristen and I just happened to run into Tom Bett George at the Christmas Expo in, I don't know, it must have been 2014 or something. And he was like, "Hey, I got a light show," and we're like, "Okay, whatever." And then it turned out he got on the show. And I don't remember if he won, and I don't think he won, but he looked great. And that was one of the largest crowds we've ever had, was at Tom Bett George's house up in Northern California. So it's good to see
his new video. Yeah, I don't think it's crossed 1 million views yet, because it's only been out a week. But his new one's even cool. So. It's amazing. You're right. The Stranger Things, and then the other. There were quite a few things on above his house that were very, very impressive. So maybe Halloween next year, maybe we'll get him on. There you go. Yeah, he's got the DMX and the fire. I always wanted a cold spark machine. My wife says no, which is why I don't own a cold spark machine. But I think those things are just cool. My wife has a fear of that. The firefighters will be at the house. I'm like, those guys are awesome. You want them at the house. They'll barbecue for you,
Right. Yeah, we do have to be careful with all that tech, don't we? It's people are.
Yeah.
You said you blew a transformer. Not that you blew it, but there was a transformer that blew in your neighborhood. But we have
Yeah,
had
so I do that.
displays
I
of
only
blown
hang lights if
transformers.
yes. Yeah, so I always hang my lights when they're plugged in. So if anything goes wrong, I can immediately fix it. And then I'm sitting there hanging lights, and they go dark. I'm like, well, it wasn't me this time.
Yeah.
So I heard the transformer pop off, anyways.
Oh, jeez.
Well, hey, I appreciate you coming on the show today and then spending your hour with us. Is there any questions I didn't ask you that I should have, or anything you want to get out? I know we want to talk about the website again, or the email again to send the video in.
Sure. Yeah, no, I appreciate that. So for Christmas Light Fight, it's lightfightcasting.com. And then for Great Halloween Fright Fight, it's frightfightcasting.com. Frightfightcasting.com. So that's pretty easy. And then, in terms of the air dates, I mean, try to watch the Great Halloween Fright Fight. It's in a couple weeks, the 22nd and the 29th of October. Oh, wait, that's this.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's not this Sunday. It's next week from Sunday.
Yeah.
And then watch those 2 episodes, because then if those do well, then hopefully ABC will order more. And then again, the All Stars show is on November 26th for Christmas. And then we start on the following 2 more Sunday nights after that. And then we go back to Tuesday nights for the last 2 weeks of the show. But anyway, thank you for spreading the word about Christmas and Halloween and putting positive vibes out there into communities everywhere. We appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. This is the best time of the year. You're either scrambling to finish programming, or you're buying new props. You're like, why didn't I buy that prop? It's always, you get about this time of the year and you're like, I should have done this. You know what? Write that down for next year. So we're always in the middle of hanging your show, thinking about the next year's show.
Right.
But yeah, thank you so much for spending time and coming on the show today. It means a lot to the viewers and the people that will watch us later. I encourage anybody who does watch us later, or even now, if you think of a question later, throw it down in the comments below, because I'm absolutely going to invite you back for another episode. I want to make sure I get everybody's questions answered for next time.
Sounds great. And we'll see you at Transworld or one of those conventions.
Agreed. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks to all your viewers and listeners too. See you later. Merry Christmas. Happy Halloween.
Happy everything.